In this topic, we'll be talking about telephone prospecting and how to get more referrals, two critical elements in the real estate business. What we'll talk about converting sign calls and ad calls, how to get those people to be prospects. I want to focus today on the difference between qualifying and selling and the importance of, at this point, you want to qualify, not sell. Talk about how to get appointments from these people. I'll do some examples of outgoing telephone calls, and we'll spend some time on how to develop a referral system. Critical that you have the ability to create referrals from people. Huge percentage of the real estate business is done by telephone, so this video covers what I consider to be one of the most powerful skills that you can use. I also did this video because my experience in this industry is that, I hate to say this, but my experience is that telephone technique is probably not up to snuff in the business. Would you agree with that? When you call real estate companies, say, I'm calling about that listing you have. What list? Do we have a listing on 2758? Just a minute, let me put you on hold. Oh, that's powerful. Waiting. That one is sold. Yeah, thank you for calling. Seen stuff like that. And we give information, we tell them it's sold, hang up. Do you know what it costs your company to create a telephone call? Anybody knows? Anybody? When your company does classified advertising, display ads, do you know what the average cost per call is to get the phone to ring? Ask your trainers and managers about this, but it runs anywhere from $30 to $55. So when that phone rings, if you take the total budget of advertising divided by the number of times the phone rings, it comes out $35, $40 a call. So when you pick it up and blow that call, you've blown $40. In fact, it's interesting. I know one company that started having their salespeople pay for their ads. Guess what happened to the telephone technique in that company? It got real good. So this video talks about how to become good at telephone technique. The purpose of the telephone call is to do what? Is it to sell the property they called on?
Get an appointment.
To get an appointment. And all too often we think, oh, they called on my house. Oh, good, I've got a live one. Oh, let me tell you what, this house got 4 bedrooms, double deck, one of the finest homes you're going to buy in America today. They're going, hey, you consider decaf, mellow out. What is the likelihood that people will buy the home on which they called? Let's just address this now. National Association of Realtors came up with a number that is around 1 in 400. So when you, in fact, tell the sellers this. When you run one ad in the sea of all of these ads, the odds of a buyer calling up on this ad and continuing to buy the home is so remote. So for us to say, oh, thanks for calling on the ad, let me tell you what a wonderful home this is. You're just making these people mad. They're not going to buy it. Now, on a sign call, there's a higher likelihood of it. Would you agree? I mean, they've seen the home, they've seen the area. So on a sign call, that's why one of the early questions is, see the sign or the ad. If it's the ad, they're not going to like this. If it's a sign, in fact, interesting, if they see the sign, they like the house, they're hoping they can afford it. Yeah, we're calling that sign. We're just wondering, we really like the house. We were wondering what they were asking for it. The asking price is $1,750,000. Oh, we can only go up to $68,500. Right? Then what were you looking at that house for? On an ad, they'll call on a $150,000 ad and find out there's not enough room to change your mind, so they'll end up spending more. So sign and ad calls are different. But our mission is, what they called on is pretty much irrelevant. But the point is, if they call, they've got to have some interest. So I want to talk to you. In fact, one of the techniques is very early in the call, thank you so much for calling our advertising. We appreciate your response to our ads. Before I tell you about the house, let me just ask you, if this home doesn't work for you, would you be interested in hearing about others? How do you like that as a technique? In other words, disqualify the home the minute they call. Now, there are exceptions to this in different markets. I want to be very clear. I know some markets, I've worked in pretty much all the states and provinces, and I know some markets where when a home goes up, there are people waiting for that home on that street, and when they call on it, they may like it. But 99% of the time, that's not the case. What is your goal on an ad call, on a sign call? I want to get their name, and I may or may not want to get an appointment. If they fail the how soon, how long, and if you found something you like, then what do? Let go. Goodbye. Thanks for calling. But what you may do is put them in your computer database. I'm not going to spend a lot of time getting into software, but there's a lot of real estate software for database and contact management. Everybody says, which one should I get? And you know what I find? I've seen agents go 2 years without a software because they can't figure out which one to buy. Not a good idea. Software doesn't have to be necessarily good, but it's got to be there. It's got to be on your computer. So when in doubt, Talk to your company, trainers, managers, find a software that works for you, load it up. So the purpose of your telephone call is to get a name and perhaps an appointment and put them in a database. Our motivation is to qualify, not to sell. There are two philosophies on getting a name out of a prospect. And I really don't care which one you choose. One philosophy is to ask right away. People pick up the phone, hello, my name is David Knox, what is yours? And they ask the name. How many of you like to ask for the name first or second question? Okay, a lot of you like it right away. Does that work?
Yeah.
If it works, then I recommend you continue to do it. Another philosophy is to wait till you have a little rapport. So wait till maybe they're a little bit more comfortable and respond a little bit and then ask. So my technique is to do one of the two, but the mission is get the name. What if they don't want to give you a name? I've always had a philosophy, if they're not even going to be cooperative enough to tell me who they are, I'm probably going to withhold some of the information. Just say, sir, I'd really like to know to whom I'm speaking. May I ask why you don't want to give a name? Well, you know, we've had some bad experiences before. I am so sorry to hear that. If you would give me a chance, maybe I could be your first good experience. Promise I make to people like you is I would only call you back if I had something that met your needs. If not, I promise not to bother you. So if you then just finesse it. So qualify, don't sell. That's your mission on an ad call. Find areas of discontent. Find out what it is they don't like about the showing process, the house hunting process, so you can offer help. Sell benefits of meeting with you. Sounds to me, how long have you folks been looking on your own? A couple, 3, 4 weeks. How's that working for you? Well, not very well. We haven't found anything we need. Let's say, I might be of service to you. And you can tell them things like quick access to new listings. When a new listing, have you folks ever lost a listing? Oh, yeah, we have. Well, then let me tell you what we can offer for you. Convenience, closing, financing. Tell them all the services that you provide as a way of getting an appointment with these people. And then you want to ask for an appointment and a name. By the way, here's another technique on getting the name. Ask for their phone number first. For some reason, people are more inclined to give you their number than their name. Once you have their number, it really doesn't matter what their name is. Another way of getting names and addresses out of people is to say, if you would give me about 3 or 4 minutes, I could do a quick search of our database, and I think there's 3 or 4 homes in that area that are new to the market. And if you'd like, I could fax them to you, mail them, send, call. What would you prefer? Well, yeah, I guess we'd like to know. Great, let me get your information, and then we'll continue. So now let's watch some of these calls and see if these techniques work. David Knox.
Hi, David. This is Sherlyn. I just drove by a house on Turtle Lake Road.
Oh, you saw that. We just put that on the market about a week ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, what attracted you to that?
Well, it's kind of like on the area that I like, and I would like to get some more information on it.
Well, I'd be happy to help you. If the home does not work for you, would you be interested in information on others as well?
Sure.
Good. Well, then let me ask you this. How soon are you planning on moving?
Probably within the next 6 months or so.
6 months? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a long time, so you're not really in that much of a hurry?
Well, I just want to look around and make sure that I got the right place and something that I really like.
I understand.
Before I buy something and don't like it.
Yeah? How long have you been looking?
I just started, actually.
Okay. And if this home met your needs and you fell in love with it, what would you do?
I'll buy it.
You would?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then that 6 months would go to like 6 minutes if you liked it?
Yeah.
Okay. David Knox.
Yeah, David, I have a question about an ad I saw in the newspaper for a real estate listing.
Yes, sir. I'm so happy you called.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, the ad actually is one. It's lists Old Charm, new and improved.
Oh, yeah, that's a beautiful home.
Yeah,
So,
it sounds like it.
what attracted you to that home?
Well, actually, I'm living in a sort of starter bungalow sort of house now, and
How soon are you planning on moving?
well, there isn't a huge rush. I got a really affordable piece of property right now.
And how long have you guys been looking?
Actually, I've just been the last several weeks been sort of looking through the want ads each week and
Okay.
hanging out.
Well, let me ask you this. If this house does not work for you, would you be interested in others?
Potentially, sure. This, like I say, it was one we just sort of saw, and it sort of got our minds rolling.
Okay, good. Let me get your number, Bill, as well. So if I do have something else, I can call you.
Sure.
What's your phone number?
The phone number is 448 7500.
7500. Okay. Well, this home is 4 bedrooms.
Okay.
And the price of it is $125.
Okay.
How does that sound compared to what you're looking for?
You know, actually, that's right in the ballpark in what we possibly could consider.
Okay, what range were you considering?
Well, you know, we probably could go up as high as 135 or 140, but don't mind looking in that price range for now.
Okay. And what are some other important features to you in a home?
Well, in this particular case, I'm going from a 2-bedroom, 1-bath.
If you found something today that did meet your needs, in fact, let's say if this home met your needs, what would you do?
Well, I would really have to think about disposing or selling.
Well, the next thing you probably need to do, Bill, it sounds like if you did find something, you would need to sell before you buy. And the first step probably would be to get your home on the market and determine the value of it and the equity and proceed from there. And my recommendation would be is that I would stop out, visit your home, and begin the process at that end. Would that work for you?
You know, actually, I'd have to talk it over with my wife, but my initial reaction is that it would work out.
Okay.
And because it sort of has spurred on quite a few conversations about interest in making a change.
Sure, I hear you. Well, would you like to set an appointment now?
You know, let me talk with my wife a little bit and share with her some of the things
Okay.
you've said, and give you a call back in the next, probably in the next day or two.
Okay. And if I don't hear from you, is it all right if I call you back as well?
Sure.
All right.
You have my number if
Yes,
you
I
don't
do.
get one.
How did you like that one? Closed questions?
On the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay, the good point. He brings up a very good point. A lot of the questions in the last part of that were closed rather than open. Why would that be, and is that appropriate? The purpose of open questions is to draw people out, get more information, tell me more, how soon, when. Then, once you have that, now it's time to do some selling. Now I want yes, no. Are you going to buy? Are you going to move? Then you start pinning them down. So you are bringing me back to the point that there is a purpose for closed questions. And the purpose for a closed question is when I want an answer, if I say, can we get together tonight? I want a yes or no. If we found a home today, would that work? So the purpose of closed questions is to get a decision. And I may have harped on open questions so much that I've scared everybody out of doing closed. But there are times when you want answers to those questions. Did you notice that I asked him about an appointment, then he said something about talking to his wife, and he was vague. And I'm not letting him get away with that. And you've got to be firm with you. Did that look too firm when I came back and said, well, if I don't hear from you, may I call you back? I mean, that's selling. I want an appointment. I want a decision. If you're not going to give it to, well, then how about this? Well, if that doesn't work, how about this? Then is it all right if I call you back? And hang in there and stay in there. Remember, this is just a game. Have some fun, but you want to use the good techniques on these people. Let's take a look at the next section. We've talked about incoming telephone calls. Let me introduce you a couple of examples of outgoing telephone calls.
Hello.
Hello, is this Bill Cooper?
Yeah, this is Bill.
Hi, Bill. This is David Knox. I was a real estate agent at the open house on Cambridge. You and I met a couple of weeks ago.
Cambridge. God, I went on a lot of open houses.
I was a contemporary. I'm the one with DSK Real Estate.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I do remember that house.
Yeah.
It needed a new roof.
Oh, yeah. It needed a little bit of work. And you and I didn't get a chance to visit very much, but I thought I would follow up and see how your situation is going.
Yeah, my time was pretty limited that day. I actually went to 3 or 4 open houses and kept moving.
And how did you find anything you liked?
Well, actually not. I actually been a little frustrated.
How soon did you want to get settled then?
Well, I'm actually in a position where I really would be in the next 2 months or so. And so, yeah, I've really been hitting the pavement a lot and going to a lot of open houses.
Oh, you have. But it doesn't sound like that's worked for you. Is that right?
Well, not really. Like I say, it's a lot of mileage, and I might have to rethink it just from a financial standpoint. So
Let's set up an appointment. Let's get together and make some plans for finding you a home.
You know, that might work out.
Hello?
Hi, is this the owner of 2758 Cambridge?
Yes, it is.
My name is David Knox. I'm with DSK Real Estate, and I noticed that your listing had expired with your existing real estate company, and I'm wondering if you had relisted.
Well, no, not really. I'm just kind of frustrated at the whole thing, and I'm just not going to do anything about it till next year. So
I'm sorry to hear that. You know, as a real estate agent, we hate it when a listing expires. Why do you think it did expire?
Well, I'm not sure if it's the agent or they probably didn't do a good enough job, or so I'm just kind of frustrated. I just don't want to deal with it anymore. I just forget about it.
If you were to sell, where were you planning on going?
I'm planning to move into the west suburbs.
Okay. Well, there's only 3 reasons why your home didn't sell. And if you would give me 5 or 10 or 15 minutes in your home, I could at least tell you which of the 3 it was. Would you be interested in at least knowing that?
You know, I'm really not interested in doing that.
Oh.
I just don't want to sell anymore.
Okay. Well, is it all right if I just keep in touch with you?
I guess you can do that.
All right.
Hello, Cooper Residence.
Hello, my name is David Knox. I'm with DSK Real Estate, and I saw you were selling your home by yourself. I wanted to call and introduce myself.
Yes, I am.
Is this a good time to call, or shall I call you later?
No, actually, it's fine. I was just relaxing here a little bit.
Well, I do a lot of work in the neighborhood, and I'm well aware if you're selling it by yourself, it's because you didn't want to use a realtor. But I was calling to see if you might consider a realtor at some point.
Well, you know, it's been about a month since we started.
Okay. Well, what I would love to do is stop by and visit you and take a look at your home, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, I have a pretty tight schedule, but we potentially could arrange something.
Okay. Well, how would just today work?
What time are you thinking?
Well, I can even be out this afternoon. Just be a quick visit. Just come out, take about 5-10 minutes of your time, and be out of your way.
Well, as long as there's no obligation at this point, because like I say, there's some financial things that are important in this transaction.
The next topic is how to establish a referral system. And taking a look at the National Association of Realtors statistics on where buyers and sellers come from, the number 1 source was friends. You ever lost a listing to someone who said, I have a friend in the business? Well, the bad news is you lost the listing. The good news is at least you lost it to the number 1 source, which tells me if you have friends in the business, guess what? They better know you're in the business. And if you lose one of your friends to another realtor, it's probably the greatest, the most painful loss. So according to AR, friends is number 1. Number 2 are referrals from your past customers, clients, and friends. And the third source is past clients. And when you add them all up, 67% of the sales and listings in the real estate industry come from what could have been created through a referral system. 67, 2/3 of your business. So if you don't have a referral system in place, you're missing 2/3. Because the other third is all ads and sign calls and floor calls and some of the other sources. But if you really want to get some business, you've got to have a referral system in place. Period. Now I've talked to people who say, well, I already get a lot of referrals and I don't have a system in place. What would your response to that be? If you're getting them through luck, if you're getting them accidentally, if you're getting referrals without having a system, my question's got to be, imagine if you did it right. Imagine if you did it right. If you're getting 20 listings a year without a referral system, if you actually worked it, how many could you get? You've just got to wonder. So referral system, and I'm sure your managers and trainers have examples in your training room to show you different ways to build this system. But let's talk about how to build one. There are 3 elements of a database or a prospecting system. The 3 elements are names, database, and dialogues. And let's talk about each of the 3. First of all, names. Where do you get the names that go into your database?
Past clients.
Past clients. How many of you are new to the business? Where do you get them? If you're a new salesperson, where do you get them? Friends, relatives, holiday card lists, different clubs, memberships that you're in. The neighborhood. If you want to start a geographic database where you just take names and addresses of people who are in a community that you want to work, you can get those. The key is names. If you do any study of mailings, the mailing list is the critical thing. Sphere of influence, your family sources, your kids, husband, wives. Basically, if they would recognize your name, they ought to be on the list. And for those of you who really want to take the referrals to the next level, you get together one realtor, one banker, one doctor, one attorney, one lender, one insurance person, one plumber, one interior designer, and you put together a referral club of non-competing, in fact, supporting people, and you get together and you meet on the first Monday of every month at 7 in the morning for a breakfast, and the rule is each person in the club must bring a referral for somebody else. And if you don't bring a referral, you have to throw $25 into the pool. And then the stockbroker invests it for the group. So if you're looking for an advanced way to generate referrals, the referral club is a good way to do it. Talk to some salespeople who have done research in their neighborhood, and they were working a specific geographic area or price range, and they discovered that a huge percentage of people buying here came from another specific city in another state. I'll give you an example. There's areas in Scottsdale, Arizona, where a very high percentage of these people come from Minnesota. And after a while, if you were working at Scottsdale and every single client was coming from Minnesota, what might you do? You might set up a way to get in contact with key companies or newspapers or something in Minnesota and prospect out of state. So those are the kinds of thoughts that you go through. Next, after you have all these names, your next step is to enter it into a database. And as I said earlier, I don't care what database you have, but get one. Whether it be on a desktop or a laptop, matters not. Ultimately, I think you'll all end up with laptops, so you can be right in your car and go ahead and call up somebody, get it on the screen and go, this is what I need to know. And it's so sad. So many salespeople, even experienced agents, and I said, when was the last time you called everybody in your database? And they go, September 5 years ago. And it's such a waste. Never let them forget you, never forget them. Call these people one a day. One top agent in this city, and I asked him, I said, how many past customers, clients do you have that still own real estate in the city, that have stayed here? And the answer he gave me was like 420. I said, when was the last time you talked to these people? And his head went down and he goes, it's been a while. I said, just call one a day. Just one a day. In a year, you've talked to most of these people. And the third thing now is to make contact before we do the dialogue. But making contact, I would recommend that for your A prospects, your really, really good referral people, take them to lunch. I want to meet with them personally. What do you suppose I mean by A prospects?
Ready to sell, ready to move?
Not necessarily. We're not talking, thanks for bringing it up, we're not talking about the people in the database who might be moving. We're talking about people who may know someone who is. So the odds of these people actually moving are not that high. But A prospects are somebody they know you, they like you. If they were ever to give a referral, they'd give it to you. There's no one else to whom they would refer business. For the A people, you take them to lunch. You take good care of your A's. A's would also include your past customers and clients that had a fun transaction with you, the one where something didn't work. Maybe they're a C. Or they could be a D. They could be working against you. But hopefully that only happens in a very small percentage. Announce it to everybody. For those of you new to the business, if your company trainers and managers haven't done this already, I'm sure they will talk to you about announcing that you are in the business to everybody. You can do a letter. You can do the 3x5 or the 4x6 fold-over card, cotton. I'm pleased to announce that I'm in the business with this company, with your photo, phone number, business card, and a hand note. If you haven't done that, for those of you new to the business, get it out. I know some people have been in the business 2 years, haven't done that yet. And then you go through the MLS and you go, hey, I know that guy. Well, obviously, he doesn't know you, or he doesn't know that you're in the business. Have you told him? No. Well, isn't that special? Maybe you should let people know. Let people know you are in the business. The leveraged referral is the best kind of referral. That's where when you talk to your prospect or your contact, and they make the call to somebody else, and they call on your behalf. There's nothing better than the leveraged referral. That's the most powerful, when they actually do it for you. Take your key people to dinner, parties, public events. I know people who rent out movie theaters. They'll buy an entire performance of a play, and they'll say, what's your low night? They say, well, Thursday night. Can I buy your theater Thursday night? Every seat. I want the whole theater. And it seats 250 people, and what they do is they send invitations to everybody in their database and make sure it's an appropriate play or a movie, or have a barbecue. I talked to a lady yesterday who does a barbecue once a year and invites every single person in her referral list to a barbecue. And with those kinds of contacting, then you're in a position to ask for a referral. I'm going to try something on this audience right now. I want you to ask me for a referral the way you typically do, and I want to see if the way you ask falls into one of the two mistakes salespeople make in asking for a referral. So I'm basically asking you to volunteer to make a mistake on videotape that will go across North America. So if you would like to attempt that, go ahead. Just ask me for a referral the way you typically do it.
By the way, do you happen to know anyone who's going to sell a house?
Okay, do you happen to know of anyone who's selling? Thank you, ma'am. You did, in fact, hit the first mistake. Do we have a good close-up shot of her? The first mistake we make in asking for a referral is, do you know of anyone who is moving? Let me illustrate why this is a mistake. This graphic represents a metaphor of a slot machine, 3 wheels on a slot machine. And each wheel has 365 spaces on it. In fact, let me ask you, how often do people move? Once every what?
5 years?
Let's even say 5 years. It's 7, it's 12, it's 5, even 5 years times 300 days, we're talking 1,500 days. Each one of these wheels has 1,500 days on it. And imagine pulling the slot machine. This is the prospect you ultimately want to get to. What is the likelihood that that person is moving today? What's the like? 1 in 1,500. So when you turn to somebody and say, do you know of anybody who's buying today or this week? The odds of that happening and that red line coming up is 1 in 1,500. Now we have the second wheel on the slot machine, and this is the contact. This is the person that you know. So you call up the contact, and my next question is, what is the likelihood that your contact has talked to this person, A, at all, B, on the day they're planning on moving? So imagine this, they're going to buy today, this wheel spins, boom, and I happen to talk to them in the same period of time that they're thinking of moving. What's the likelihood of those two events occurring on the planet Earth? Okay? Those of you mathematicians, 1,500, you know how I think it's 1,500 squared is something like that. It's like the lottery. Now the next question. What is the likelihood that you talked to this person at all? We'll start there. What's the likelihood that you've made contact with one of the people in your database at all? If you're doing really well, the likelihood is, well, I do call him once a year. Okay, then my second question is, what is the likelihood that you called this contact on the day that he knew that he was moving at the same time? What's the likelihood of those three things lining up?
Slim to none.
Slim to none falls into the solar eclipse category. When you say, do you know of anyone who's moving? The odds of that happening are it's not going to happen. Very few people go, oh, yeah, I do. And then the second mistake people make, and I've heard this for years now, is they say, well, if you hear of anyone who's moving, have them call me. How many of you get up in the morning, honey, what are you going to do today? Oh, I got to pick up the kids, drop off the laundry, give 2 referrals to my stockbroker, and then I got to go over. People don't think about that. When was the last time you thought about giving a referral to your insurance agent? Did any of you even have that thought today? Anybody? Anybody in this room think about giving a referral to their insurance agent? And you're in the real estate business where you are more likely to do it, and you haven't thought about it. So I rest my case on when you call people and say, do you know if anybody is moving? Not going to happen. And let's just demonstrate the wrong way just to make the point. Well, I'm looking for a new job.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, well, what I mean is now that you've bought a home from me and other people, I'm looking for other people to help.
Okay.
And the market's been so strong, I was just wondering, I mean, do you know of anybody who's thinking of buying a home today?
Not today.
Well, do you even know of anybody who's thinking about buying this week?
No, I really don't offhand.
Okay. Well, I just have to check.
Okay.
And I guess my hope is if you find somebody, would you have them call me?
Well, sure, we'll keep you in mind. I have your card handy in the drawer.
All right. And unfortunately, that's how we end up. Our business cards end up in people's drawers, and that's as far as it goes. So how do you get people out of the drawers and into homes? Is there a better way? Is there a better way to get referrals? Yes. And it's so simple that when you hear this technique, you go, gosh, that's not that big a deal. So let me try this on you. First of all, do you know anyone who wants to buy a Honda CBR 900RR motorcycle? No. You don't? Well, I'm selling one. Do any of you know if somebody wants to buy a CBR 900RR motorcycle? No. That's because that's the wrong way. Do you know? And you look at me like, what? Now I'm going to try a different way. See if this works. I want you to think of this as a serious question. I'd like each of you to think of the people that are close to you, friends in your life, people you socialize with, and I'm just curious, if you had to just make a guess, who do you think in your life would be the next person to buy a motorcycle? Who do you think would be next? What happened as I asked that question? You start thinking of all your crazy friends. You go, oh, he's too boring. No, he'd never do it. She would. She's cool. I bet she might. So the way to get a better, not a perfect, but a better response is when you talk to your people, instead of asking, do you know, the question you want to ask is, in your opinion, which one of your friends, associates, or whatever, what do you think would be the next to move? Who do you think would be next? And they may pause and say, gosh, we don't know if anybody is moving. And you might have to ask it a second time and say, you may not know of anybody, but if you had to guess, who do you just think would be next? Oh, I don't know. John and Diana, they've been talking about having another child, and my guess would be that if they really do that, that house isn't going to work for them. Would it be all right if I called them? And now what happens is you've taken the concept of referrals and you've come out of the passive way of doing it and moved into the active. Who do you think is going to be moving next? And would it be all right if I called them? And I promise you your hit rate on referrals will go up tremendously. So let's now see if the technique of asking the right way works.
Hello?
Hi, is this Brenda?
Yes.
Hi, Brenda. David Knox.
David, how are you?
I'm just fine. How are you doing?
Oh, great.
I wanted to see how you are in your new home.
Oh, we're really happy.
Are you?
Yeah, it's just exactly what we needed.
Good for you. And how's Brian doing?
He's doing great. He just got a new job.
Did he? Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I was actually calling because I need your help.
Okay.
Ever since you bought a home, the market took off even more, and I'm looking for people who might be interested in making a move. And I'm just wondering, of all the people you know, kind of your personal friends, who do you think would be the next to move?
Well, it's funny that you would call. I work with a gal that has been thinking about buying a home. She relocated here recently and was just saving some money.
Really?
I don't think she's working with anyone right now.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me ask you this. Would you mind if I contacted her?
No, not at all. In fact, tell her that I referred you.
Let me just... Tell me what her name is.
It's Sharon
Uh-huh.
Hughes.
Uh-huh.
And I suppose the best thing would be is just to call her at work at our office.
Okay, and what's that number?
835-4477.
Okay. And I'll get the rest of the information. How long have you known her?
Just about 6 months.
Good. Well, that's so nice of you to give me that referral. Well, I can mention your name when I call her.
Yep. And tell her that I thought you did a great job for us.
Oh, that's great. Well, yeah, if you happen to talk to her, mention that. I really appreciate it. Now that you're in, is there anything that I can be doing for you?
Well, I guess just keep mailing us interesting information.
Hey, once you buy a home from me, you'll never get off my mailing list.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
You'll be getting stuff from me for years.
Great, okay.
Well, great. I'm so glad to hear that everything's going well with you. And thank you very much for the referral to Sharon. I appreciate it.
Okay, well, good luck.
All righty.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. My best source of business in my career is people like you, my past customers and clients, referring me to somebody else. And I'm curious, if you were to think of friends or work associates or things like that, and you had to make a guess, who do you think would be the next one to make a move?
The next one to make a move.
Mm-hmm.
Well, gosh, there's a colleague of mine down at work that has been talking about some relocating, and he's about the only person I've run across recently that has mentioned it. His name is Walt Weaver.
Uh-huh.
Off the top of my head, I don't know his home phone, but I know where you can catch him at work.
So I just want to make sure. So it's okay if I call him, and it's okay if I use your name?
Actually, there's no problem with that at all.
Good deal.
Hi, this is Walt Weaver. May I help you?
Yes, Mr. Weaver. My name is David Knox, and I'm with DSK Real Estate. And I was actually referred to you, or I got your name from Bill Cooper, a gentleman you work with.
Right.
And I was visiting with him the other day. I had actually sold a home for him, and I was asking him if he knew of anyone who might be considering a move, and he actually mentioned your name as perhaps being in a situation where you might be moving. Is that true?
He did mention my name.
Yes, he did.
Well, yeah, that's true. The rumor mill's true, all right. Yeah, we are contemplating to move out to the coast, all right.
I see it. Well, Bill and I have done a lot of work together, and I was wondering if it might be convenient for you and I to perhaps get together. And if you are contemplating a move, I'd love the opportunity of presenting a marketing plan to you and just seeing if there's anything I could do to help you in your situation.
Well, I appreciate that. We were thinking about trying to put it on the market ourselves. Uh-huh. You said Bill. You worked with Bill?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, sure. Why not? It's worth a shot. Sit down, see what you've got to say.
From the first person, you need to get the permission to call, permission to use the first person's name. You call the second person, use the first person's name, build a rapport. And hopefully your life will go through that. One person gives you a name, and you continue to do that throughout your career and see where it goes. And by the way, let's say they give you a name of, well, I don't know if they're moving, but I think they'd be next. You get their name and you call them up, and then you find out, and you ask them the question, how much longer do you plan to stay in your present home? And their answer is 62 years. Is that still okay? What have you gained? Another contact. Because what's going to happen is 3 months from now, they're getting transferred. They just didn't know it today. You don't know how quickly people's lives will change. As long as we're on the topic, in today's age of email, bulk rate, internet, faxes, nobody's personal anymore. Nobody is. Everybody's getting email and bulk rate. Have you ever gotten a letter from somebody that was written on cotton paper, hand addressed with a fountain pen with real ink and a hand stamp? You look at me like, I remember the days that used to happen. Years ago that used to happen. So get out of the high techs for a few minutes of your day and do some nice cotton note cards, hand stamped, hand addressed, and thank the people for the phone call. The benefit of working with referrals are the people know you, they like you, they trust you, and it eliminates the whole first part of the sales process. Or it doesn't eliminate it, but it sure shortens it. So in this session, we learned some ideas on telephone technique, that we're not trying to sell homes on the phone. What we're trying to do is find out who these people are, try to find out what they ultimately will buy, determine if they're good, ready, willing, and able prospects, and if they are, get names, addresses, phone numbers, appointments, and ultimately use these people as sources of business and help them find what they're really looking for. In the final section, we talked about how to get referrals out of our database. So we need names. We've got to have a lot of names. We've got to have a database in which to put them. And finally, we need to have some good dialogue on how to ask for referrals. So that concludes the tape on telephone prospecting and referrals.